Hello guys, Charles here and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be teaching you 5 levels of the melodic minor to go from a linear scale approach like this to a more outside intervallic chromatic approach like this. So this lesson is for anyone who wants to unlock the melodic minor scale up and down the neck, a favourite tonality of players such as Tom Quayle, John Stowell, John Scofield, among many other notable guitarists. Although it functions very differently, the melodic minor scale can be thought of simply as a major scale with a flattened third. Therefore, I would recommend that you are comfortable with the previous 2 lessons on the major scale before you dive headfirst into today's video, as we'll be putting the melodic minor through the same exercises as we did in the major mastery video and the outside intervallic approach to scales videos. We'll start with a linear approach by learning the melodic minor scale using 3 different approaches all over the neck. Then we'll up the ante and apply some 4/7-3-6-2-5-1 arpeggios to the melodic minor scale, finishing with some chromatic substitutions. Hopefully by going through these 5 levels, you'll be able to avoid the frustration of getting a new scale down, but still feeling musically limited by the linear pattern-based approach to scales. Whereas all the examples in the previous 2 videos were based on the major scale, in this video we're going to be focusing exclusively on the A melodic minor scale with some chromatic substitutions. However, the same approach can and should be applied to the harmonic major and minor scales as well. And as always, these exercises should be worked on exclusively in the practice room unless they emerge organically in a live setting. What happens in the practice room stays in the practice room. Just before we get to the 5 levels, let's briefly discuss the 3 main benefits which I hope you'll take away from this lesson. Firstly, by taking this progressive approach to scales, you'll immediately have access to a new scale and sound world from exercise 1. You can start applying this scale straight away and begin experimenting with it in different contexts. Secondly, as you progress through the method, you'll be able to tie all of the areas of the neck together by having 5 different visualization methods all working together to help improve your knowledge of the notes of the fretboard. It's the equivalent of a belt and braces situation. This means that no matter where you are on the neck, you'll always have a familiar scale shape close to hand, rather than having to jump down to the 1 or 2 scale shapes that you've previously become comfortable with. Thirdly, as we move towards a more intervallic and chromatic approach in exercises 4 and 5, we'll improve our knowledge of the scale in tonal contexts, and more specifically, how the notes of the scale connect to the underlying harmony. This is more relevant to how we actually use scales in improvisation or composition, where our goal is to tie the notes of the melody and harmony together. Our first level is to find out where the notes of the melodic minor scale live when compared to the chord shapes of the caged system. As you've already learned these patterns in the major mastery video, you'll find that the melodic minor scale is nowhere near as daunting as it might at first appear. Remember that in contemporary contexts, we can simply think of the melodic minor scale as a major scale with a flattened third. So for these patterns, we're going to use a strict 3 notes per string approach, with the exception of the G string. When trying to stick to the caged system shapes, the G string will only have 2 notes, which keeps us in a vertical position. Remember, as always, that I'm playing my 7-string guitar, so you should ignore the low B string nearest my face. So your end goal for level 1 is to be able to transpose those scale shapes all over the neck, starting from any one of the 5 caged positions. This will become easier as you work through the next 4 levels and the belt and braces approach comes into effect. Next, we'll expand on the caged position shapes by following a strict 3 notes per string pattern. On the last note of each of the 7 positions, we'll slide up a note through the scale, moving us into the next mode or position of the 7. Again, your goal for level 2 is to be able to transpose those scale shapes anywhere on the neck, starting from any one of the 7 modal positions. This too will become easier as you work through the remaining 3 levels. The final linear approach is a strict 4 notes per string pattern. As this pattern covers a lot of fretboard real estate, taking us all the way from fret 5 up to fret 20, it carves a path through the previously learned patterns, illustrating how they can all eventually be tied together visually. Now we'll apply the 4-7-3-6-2-5-1 arpeggiated concept from the major scale video into a melodic minor setting. By taking an arpeggiac approach through a simple progression, we can create voice-led arpeggios which resolve very effectively through the progression and down towards the tonic. The 4-7-3-6-2-5-1 progression is sequenced in a functional fashion, following the cycle of fourths, which is one of the most common progressions used in Western music. So playing diatonic arpeggios over the 4-7-3-6-2-5-1 progression is a simple melodic concept, and it allows us to begin to understand how the notes of the previously learned shapes and patterns relate to the underlying harmony. Finally, the chromatic concepts. Now, let me remind you of a little disclaimer I made in the previous video on the major scale. Do make sure that the majority of your playing time is focused on the basics. The outside concepts are fun and creative ideas, but they can become a little bit of an unnecessary distraction. Firstly, let's apply a tritone substitution to every other chord, meaning that each chord type can be replaced by the same chord type 3 tones or a diminished fifth away. The tritone substitution often creates these descending chromatic arpeggios. Because the 4-7-3-6-2-5-1 progression offers such a strong functional harmonic framework, we can start to apply more sophisticated chromatic concepts with the confidence that we're less likely to lose our frame of reference. Finally, as a little bonus level, let's see what happens when we apply our family of 4 idea to the melodic minor scale arpeggios. As well as covering this briefly in my outside intervallic approach to scales video, I also discussed the concept in my 3 diminished decorations video, which you can watch up here. For now, all you need to know is that if we felt the tritone substitution sounded good, then we can also try substituting the original chord type for the same chord type a minor third up or a minor third below, due to the relationship between the diminished and dominant structures. Again, because the progression so closely follows the cycle of fourths, lending it a very strong logic, and we voice-led our lines well, the listener is willing to accept the function of the substituted harmony. So hopefully there was something in that video which you feel you can take away and work on. Try applying the melodic minor sound world over 7 sharp 11 chords, minor major 7s, major 7 sharp 5s, altered chords, and the bog standard minor 7 sound. Let me know down below if you'll be adding this approach into your routine, and do share with us any other approaches or advice which you found helpful for increasing your melodic minor confidence. Finally, do please give this video a like and subscribe, ding the notification bell, and share this video with any of your friends who you think might find it useful. I hope you're all doing very well and getting plenty of practice in, and as always, I very much look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers!
Roll up, let me embed a story you'll never forget. A drip, drip, you're drowning in debt now. You can't buy your way out, and I heard you find it difficult to cope well. Here by this bottle full of